Hey y'all, Irix Guy here. Now it's, let's see, what is today? It's March the 9th of 2015. Now earlier today, if you weren't aware, Apple actually had an event and they released a few new things. And one of the hot items was the release date of the Apple Watch, which it looks cool. I like automatic watches, so something that's digital to me is not that interesting. But what was interesting was the announcement of the new MacBook. Now this MacBook is completely different than the MacBooks we've seen in the past. And what I'm going to do within this video is explain what's different in a common sense fashion. I'm going to stay away from all the jargon. If you want to get very technical with it, you can go to Apple's website and they've got a comparison tool. And I'm actually going to reference that within this video to help to better illustrate what the differences are. So what I'm holding in my hand right here, this is the MacBook Air. This is the 13-inch model MacBook Air. It's very light. I've been using this for about a year now, and I've been very happy with it. On the side, it's got a, I think they call it the MagSafe. It's the magnetized power adapter, so if you kick it, it better enables the chances of your laptop staying on your desk. It's got a USB 3 port. It's got a headphone jack. And then on the opposing side, it's got an SD card slot, which is super important for me doing all the videos that I do here on youtube.com/IrixGuy. That's my main reason for having a MacBook. Well, this is the MacBook Air, but for having an Apple laptop is to be able to be in the field and perform edits and then return to my studio and do my hardcore stuff on my iMac with Retina 5K display. But also on this side you have USB 3 and you've got Thunderbolt. Actually, I think that's probably a Thunderbolt 2. I'd have to double check to ensure. But so you don't get a network jack, an Ethernet jack on your MacBook Air, but it's got built-in Wi-Fi and you can get an adapter affordably from Apple that will go Thunderbolt to Ethernet, and likewise there's a lot of USB Ethernet adapters available on the internet. So now let's get to the new MacBook that was announced today. It's not available yet. You can check Apple's website and you can find all the detailed specs, but I think they said it's probably going to be here towards the 1st of April, maybe April the 10th or so. So there's a little bit of a wait, but you can go ahead and go to Apple's website and see all the specs. But for comparison's sake, what I'm going to do is compare it to this 13, and I'm sorry, I said 13-inch. This is a 13.3-inch MacBook Air. So from a screen display perspective, you've got a 12-inch screen on the new MacBook, but it's a Retina display. This MacBook Air is not Retina. It's 12 inches, whereas this MacBook Air is a little bit bigger at 13.3 inches. And you can get a smaller MacBook Air, but it's not going to have Retina either. The CPUs, the new MacBook that was announced today, will have a 1.1 gigahertz, 1.2 gigahertz, or 1.3 gigahertz dual-core Intel Core M as in Mary processor. Whereas this MacBook Air 13-inch it's got a 1.6 gigahertz dual-core i5 or a 2.2 gigahertz dual-core i7. So you're getting more processing power with the MacBook Air. Now the thickness, so the new MacBook that was announced today, 0.14 to 0.52 inches thin. MacBook Air 13.3 inch right here, 0.11 to 0.68 inches thin. So there's a significant size difference. The weight of the MacBook that was announced today is 2.03 pounds. That is super light. This one is already super light, and it weighs 2.96 pounds. So almost a pound heavier than the new MacBook that was announced today. Now, here's where we get into the interesting stuff. Both of these computers, the MacBook Air that was announced today and the MacBook Air, you can get up to 512 gigs of flash storage, which is great because it's fast. It doesn't have the mechanical hard drive in there. The graphics that you're going to get on the new MacBook that was announced today Intel HD graphics 5300. On this MacBook Air right here, Intel HD graphics 6000. So you're getting better graphics on the MacBook Air. Now again, back to the resolution. As I'd mentioned, the new MacBook that was announced today has Retina. So it's got a resolution of 2304 by 1440. Whereas this 13.3-inch MacBook Air only has a resolution of 1440 by 900. So this isn't even HD, high definition. High definition is 1920 by 1080. The battery. On the MacBook that was announced today, up to 9 hours of wireless web. Whereas this MacBook Air will get you up to 12 hours of wireless web. So you're getting more battery life out of the MacBook Air. But with the MacBook, you're getting better portability. Now here's where the newness comes in. So the MacBook it's got a new port. It's called a USB-C, as in cat. So you're getting that one port. Now that USB-C port also functions as your power adapter jack. So whereas with this you have this magnetic power jack, you don't have that in the new MacBook. It's got a USB-C which also functions as the charging port. On this computer, as we mentioned previously, you've got a plethora of ports. You've got 2 USB 3 ports and a Thunderbolt 2 port. On the new MacBook, you don't get either of those. And you don't get an SD card slot either. Now sure, the USB-C, you can plug in a dongle and you can get a lot of these features, but then again, and even though it's small, but in addition to your MacBook, you'll be carrying a dongle with you. Not that that's necessarily a problem. Because when you're in the field, you may like the extra thinness and extra almost pound less of weight. Especially if you're doing backpacking or something like that. Because I know when I travel to do YouTube videos, it's important for me to minimize the weight. But when I'm minimizing the weight, I also want a significant amount of processing power. And that's, for me, that's one concern that I would personally have for my uses, Final Cut Pro video editing and photo editing, that I would have with the new MacBook is that it's got a smaller display, even though it's Retina, sharper resolution, but it's also got less powerful processors, and I don't have the convenience of simply plugging in a USB 3 hard drive, which is how I store when I travel, I usually get about a terabyte of video in a week. So that's not going to fit inside the computer, so I'm going to have to be using a hard drive. So if I did the MacBook, I would have to have the dongle and then plug my USB 3 hard drive into that. Not that it's a problem, but it's just something to consider. So looking at some other things with this, now something you do get, and this is cosmetic, with the new MacBook you get different color options. You can get one that's a gold color. If that sort of thing matters to you, that's something you don't get to choose, at least currently, with the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro. And I haven't been mentioning MacBook Pro. I mean, it's the new MacBook, in my opinion, is more closely compared to this MacBook Air because they're more portable and they're less powerful than the MacBook Pro. But also from a cost perspective, they're more in line with one another too. Now, in the new MacBook, you're getting the new Force Touch trackpad that was announced today. In this MacBook Air, you're just getting the multi-touch. And then the MacBook, it says full-size backlit keyboard with butterfly mechanism. With the MacBook Air, you get full-size backlit keyboard. Another curious thing here is that with the new MacBook, you just get a FaceTime camera. But with the MacBook Air, you get a FaceTime HD high-definition camera. Both of them have Bluetooth 4.0. Both of them have 802.11 AC Wi-Fi. So And again, as I mentioned earlier, the color options. So the new MacBook, you can get in gold, silver, or space gray. MacBook Air, you just get it in silver. So what does all this mean? And again, I've geared this video towards someone that may not be just an Apple guru. I mean, I consider myself to be an Apple fanboy. Every time I watch, well, it used to be Steve Jobs, rest in peace, but now it's Tim Cook. When you watch those people, you just get excited when they give these presentations. You just get excited because they're so energetic, and even if it's just a thinner laptop or a different color laptop or a little bit faster or whatever, you always tend to get excited just because of how they deliver the presentation. But with that said, again, today I'm the Apple Watch. That's just me. I don't care about that. I have no interest in that. A lot of people will, which is cool. But the new MacBook, I don't. For me, it's personally not what I would choose. And I'm not saying it's a bad choice. It's an excellent choice, because if you want something ultra portable, you want a little bit more functionality than an iPad or an iPhone is going to give you. You want a fully functional laptop, it's going to provide you with that experience. And it's going to be about from a travel perspective, whether you're traveling with that or a full-size iPad, there's not going to be a huge difference in size and weight. I mean, there is a difference, but it's not a huge difference in my opinion. But again, if you're someone like me that travels, I mean, I run Irish Guys Adventure Channel. I've got almost, was it 14 million? I think it's almost 15 million video views right now. You can check the About page on youtube.com/IrixGuy. That's my channel. That's where I'm sharing this video right now. But I need the input and output. I don't want to deal with a dongle to attach my USB 3.0 2 terabyte hard drive that I travel with. And I don't want to have to plug in a USB SD card reader to that dongle to download my photos and videos from my 4K cameras. Not that it's a problem. Again, it's not a problem. But for me, that's not optimal. And it's what would push me more towards the new MacBook versus a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro would be if they could pack a little bit more powerful processor in there. I haven't had experience with the new Intel processor that they're using in the new MacBook, but I would really like to see if they could somehow. And I know a lot of it has to do with thermals, because when you're dealing with something so small like the new MacBook, you're dealing with a smaller area, so you're not having the luxury of cooling. And that's another point. One of the perks for the MacBook is the whisper quiet operation, because it does use that new processor. It doesn't have the heat issues. Not issues. I mean, Apple does an excellent design job with all their products, from my experience. But it doesn't have the need for as much cooling, so it's going to run quieter than a MacBook Air or a larger MacBook Pro. But with that more quiet operation, as I'd mentioned, there's a trade-off, and the trade-off is less processing power. Now, if you're a user, now I do a lot of video editing, and I'm sure it'll run video editing just fine. But having a little bit larger display, because that 12-inch display on the MacBook, that's stepping down from this 13-inch display. But there's a trade-off. You're getting the Retina display, so you're getting a higher resolution image. So when you look at it, even though it's a 12-inch versus a 13.3-inch display, you're still getting a higher resolution image, which it's higher resolution than HD. As I mentioned earlier, HD is 1920 by 1080. But when you're editing videos, when you're exporting videos, let me just give you a hypothetical, well, not a hypothetical situation, but a real-world situation that I encounter when I go out in the field and capture video. So I'll come back to my boat or to my hotel or house or whatever, and I will plug in my USB 3.0 2 terabyte hard drive. Then I will take the SD card out of my 4K camera and stick it in this SD card slot. Final Cut Pro will say, do you want to import videos? Where do you want to put them? I'll put them on my 2 terabyte external USB 3.0 hard drive. That's my workflow. And then beyond that, what I will do is I will do some edits in the field. So that's where this, even though this isn't as powerful as a MacBook Pro or my iMac with Retina 5K display computer with the i7 that's back in my studio, this is still a capable enough device for performing field edits and other computer functions, checking email, browsing the web, etc. If I chose a MacBook, the new MacBook, I wouldn't have as much speed. So with this, maybe I'm in the wherever I'm staying for the night, a boat or a hotel or whatever. Whereas with this, maybe I could export a handful of 4K Ultra HD videos throughout the night using compressor. Whereas with the MacBook, just because of processing power, it wouldn't be able to export as many videos as quickly. And when you're a volume video content creator like I am, which I'm a weird demographic. So I'm probably not your typical Mac user. I mean, I'm using this for video editing and for photos. So that's my primary reason for using this. If you're using this as a more functional or a more feature-rich device than an iPad or an iPhone, then the new MacBook would likely be the perfect choice for you. I mean, if you're not editing large video files, I mean, maybe you edit a video, but you're not editing, 5 or 6 back to back and exporting them. Maybe you're on a vacation and you took a photo down at the beach and it's 1 minute and 20 seconds long, and you want to share that video. The MacBook would be perfectly well suited for that, as well as browsing the web, checking the email, running your office applications, whatever you may use for business that you may be doing on a Mac. So it's an interesting next step in my opinion, and I can't wait to see, because we've already seen the evolution of the Mac computer. We don't see the optical drive, the DVD CD drive anymore. I mean, that's the thing of the past. If you want that, you got to plug it in with the USB cable. But now we're seeing even more stripped down. We're seeing a device that has a USB-C port that you can then put whatever on that. So, going forward, probably what it's going to do, if this USB-C technology really catches on, you're probably going to start to see a lot of USB-C devices. Whereas now USB 3.0 is the hot thing for external hard drives. In the very near future, you may see a USB-C external hard drive, so you don't have to use a dongle. You may see a SD card reader that's USB-C connectable, and you may see a bunch of other devices. If there was one thing that I would ask Apple, and I love the fact that they've designed this new, in my opinion, it's one of the biggest design steps forward that they've done in a while for their laptop line. And what I would really like to see, I know it's a size thing, but if they could have just somehow put that SD card slot in there. And maybe their justification for that is that we don't need SD anymore because everything's going to be AirDrop. Which, if you're using your iPhone for your videos and photos, yeah, you can just wirelessly AirDrop your videos and/or photos to the device. But if you're using third-party camera equipment such as 4K camcorders and cameras, you're still going to have that SD card. So those are my thoughts. I think it's a great product, and I'm excited to see it. And feel free to drop me a line. Tell me what you think. Ask me any questions. I've been using Mac computers since before Mac OS X came out. So yeah, that was a long time ago. So drop me a line, ask me whatever you want to, and share this video with others. And most importantly, be sure to subscribe. That helps to support my channel. I'm all about trying to get more subscribers. YouTube.com/iRixGuy, and share this video and any of my videos with others. Thanks for watching, and Y'all have a good day.